my God. Where'd you get that from?
Chris is literally like, we were
Anything she says from here on out is a lie. It's a lie. It's a fucking lie. Anything she says from here on out.
It's too early for this.
Hold up.
No, we were trying to figure out what we were fisting to. Damn, I'm ghetto. Start over.
Oh my God.
Over. So we were trying to brainstorm on topics, right? And Chris was very excited to talk about this topic. So have you ever heard of the saying, if you know Spanish, you probably have. If not, then we'll explain it to you. But there's this saying or phrase that is, a la prima se la rima, right?
Yeah.
It's a very disturbing saying, but Chris knows a lot about this topic.
What?
Chris has a confession.
No, I do not.
This is Confessional Sunday.
Oh my God.
And he wants to discuss. He wants to let it out.
No.
He wants to basically tell us what happened with him and his kids.
I don't know what she's talking about, to be honest with you.
I'm totally kidding. No.
But it was something. So people like, it's when we talk about topics in podcasting, it's kind of like, you know, we throw a lot of ideas out there, and this is just one that kind of just like, okay. But yeah, you think about it, you hear it. Us Hispanics, you hear it, and people that have heard it, like, people think of it as a joking thing that people, because in some conversations we joke about it and we say it as a joke. But
but
not us, but I mean, just in general, people say that, and then, you know, you say it as a joke, but.
So what does it mean?
Where did this? Go ahead.
Okay, so before we even go deeper into so what it means is that a la prima se la rima. What it means is that there are people out there that do not care if you are a family member, if they are, I guess, attracted to someone within the family, specifically a cousin. They'll go and they'll go ahead and shoot their shot. And they don't care if they're, you know, cousins, if they're related. So that's what that term basically means, a la prima se la rima. So
just nobody's off the table when it comes to like women protecting their man. It's just not the friends or the women that are at the club. They also like, it's kind of like, just don't lose sight of the cousins too, you know? And it's weird.
It's so weird.
It's so weird when you think about it that way. But I mean, there's stuff out there, you know, you got incest is a thing. I mean, there's no gray area. I mean, somebody who says, "Oh, there's a gray area," there's no gray area.
I mean, at least for me, I'm pretty sure you think the same way. Like, that's a no. Like, you cannot mess around with the family member. That's just weird. It's also unlawful. Like here, I think it's illegal here in the United States. And also for reproductive reasons, you shouldn't be doing that. You know, it's actually very dangerous because you can actually, you know, create mutations within like the offspring.
Yeah.
So it's not something that anyone should be doing anyway. But in some countries, it's very normalized, and some people do it for different reasons. I know that in India, I think it's very, very common to marry like relatives, like cousins and whatnot. But it's because they want to stay within the family, or back in the day, other people, what they would do is that they would try to like keep money within the family. So they would marry off their offspring to people that were within the family, which is another reason why they allowed it, I guess.
I mean, to each your own. There's no judgment. I think from our part, we just talk about it. We just talk about it. I mean, for me, I don't judge people on it because,
I'm not gonna lie, I do. I will. He won't.
I'm nice enough not to say nothing. I'll just
won't
be like,
say
hey.
anything, but for me, it's just not something that I agree with. I don't agree with it at all. But as far as like me condemning someone for doing that, I think that if it were to be with someone like from here, that was actually raised like on the Western part, we know better than to do that, right? But if you were raised in a different environment, I would just kind of look at you like, you know, but you know,
I mean,
I wouldn't say anything.
I get it. But I mean, if somebody was to ask me my opinion, I would give my honest opinion. But I would give it in a way of like, if that's what you do, that's what you do. But I won't.
But
like,
is it the right thing to? Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that goes for a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, but then you bring up the topic where I have heard people date people and then come to realization or find out that they are related.
Yeah.
Somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
Have you heard that? I've got a couple people that are, I don't want to say friends, but acquaintances that have, that I've overheard conversations where like they haven't, but it was much when they were younger, like when they were like, little puppy love, high school, middle school type things where like, I didn't know I was dating my cousin back then. And of course they just like, I mean, I don't know how, if you would be saying that all the time, like, but I know some people say it's funny because nothing happened or whatever, but it's like, you kissed them, and it's like, like, how do you think
you kissed your
like,
cousin? That's judgment, Chris. That's judgment.
How's that? I mean, I didn't say nothing, but I mean, it's like they tell me, I'm like, oh, what do I say?
I mean, come on, yeah. Obviously, we're gonna see it differently. I would have probably done the same thing. I would have been like, oh, like you
got cooties.
Yeah. teasing, of course.
But my thing is like, how do you think people feel about that nowadays? It's like, how do you go through life knowing that that's happened? Now, I think it'd be easier if you don't associate with that cousin anymore. Like, say if it's one of those distant cousins that you never see ever again, maybe you get through life. But what if it's somebody that you frequently start seeing more
Hell
of?
No.
Like, I don't know. I don't think I could.
You could live with yourself.
Yeah,
with that.
I would exclude myself completely. Like I would be like, okay.
I never want to see you again.
Yeah. And do you tell say now you have a relationship, this is years down the line, do you tell your significant other that person, and then they know who that person is because of family functions or whatever, whatnot? That's stuff you should keep to yourself, right? I mean, I would think you would keep it to yourself.
If it were like to be a mutual thing, let's say there's two cousins, a boy and a girl, and they did things they were not supposed to, they crossed some lines. The morality was just thrown out the door. In that situation, I feel like if you openly tell everyone what happened because you both agreed on it, it would just create more problems, right? I would, if that would have been me, I would never do that to begin with. Let's just make that very clear. But if that would have been me, I would have never told anyone because it would just be fucking weird for everyone in the family to know. That would be weird.
But I think there's more out there than there like.
But if it's different,
I think it's one of those things that people don't tell you about it. Like
taboo. It's a taboo. Yeah. No. If it were to be now, like if it were to be a different situation, like let's say someone older, and they're trying to like prey on someone younger because it happens a lot. Unfortunately, yeah, that is something that's very common. I know in Mexico it still happens, and even here in the United States as well. In that situation, I would fucking tell people because, like, that's a pervert right there.
Yeah, that's a pedophile.
Someone praying, that's a pedophile.
Yeah.
Or even if they're, like, of age and it's just someone trying to, like, prey on someone within the family, that's disgusting. I would definitely say something there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And then, I don't know what the repercussions are. I mean, I'm pretty sure if, they definitely crossed that line and got physical, that should be jail time, with jail time and stuff like that.
Or get stoned to death.
And that too. Or
just kidding. We're gonna have to cut that out.
Yeah, disown. Like I would hope if that was the case that the family should like disown that person and be like, you know what? As a family,
but do you want to know something sad though? I know in Latin America, and I've heard so many stories about that. This is how I know. When it's a man that's doing the praying, a lot of the times they kind of overlook it, especially if he's the breadwinner within the family. They're kind of like, oh well, don't talk about it. Don't say
just
anything.
Hush under the carpet, under the rug type thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Damn.
That's pretty messed up. Mm-hmm.
I don't talk to a lot of my family in Mexico, so I don't hear so much about stuff like that. I know some Hispanics keeping connections with their families, and you hear stuff like that because living over there is different than here, but the same things do happen. It's just one's publicized more than the other, and
here I think that even though like the criminal justice system is not perfect here in the United States, there's still more repercussions that happen. Like you will go to jail. Something is gonna happen.
Yeah.
In Mexico, it's a little different.
get put in a mental hospital for the rest of your life. Because but like, can you see it as a mental disability though? No, not really, right?
I think that the criminal justice system in Mexico is so corrupt that, I mean, he could literally pay someone just to get out.
Yeah.
You know, like if he
over
were
there,
to
money
be
rolls.
a predator. Yeah,
Money
over there,
rolls.
money is what moves, and so
Yeah.
it wouldn't be something fair for the victim. But here, you know, there's more laws in place, and they're a little bit more stern about, you know, stuff like that, and they protect more like the victims here for sure compared to Mexico.
There's a and I just learned this today because I got this sent over to me. It's a family that's well known. I think they did a YouTube documentary on this family, but it's a family of, it's like the world's longest inbred
Ew.
family. Meaning, I guess,
Did they live like in
brothers, sisters, cousins, and like, or I don't even know how to do it. Like nephews or kids, kids or nephews, and also sons, and
Yeah.
like they play. And the pictures I saw were like a little disturbing in the sense of like facial, and you know how they were born or whatever. And I'm not trying to be, you know, bashing on anybody or anything, but it's like you could see, or what I would assume you could see, that there's like some deformities in the thing, and it's like, at what point do you stop? And apparently they did the document. It became like a famous group of people, a family. I can't remember what the family name was, but apparently now there's like a couple of them missing, and there's like this whole thing. And it's probably a couple of years back or whatever, but you know, this is stuff that I'm not into and stuff. So I just, like I said, I just learned this today, and it's just interesting how like they have records of family members that have gone for generations or decades of inbreeding, and I think it's somewhere like West Virginia, upstate.
I was just gonna ask,
like
Appalachian Mountains.
I don't know. It's probably like some rural area. It looked like some country out in the sticks type family, and yeah, I just think that's like, I mean, it's out there. You know what I mean? And for them to have it on a YouTube thing, I didn't even know that. I suppose they have some documentary thing on YouTube. That's like crazy to me.
I mean, to choose someone within the family, that's wild. Like, there's so many people on this earth. Why would you choose a family member?
I mean, but and that goes back to like how I felt like if it gets to that, I think somebody abused somebody. I think that I don't think we're born to want. I mean, people can say that, well, it's just a woman and a man. It's a natural thing. I was like, no, I don't think so.
It's called lack of self-control, and that's very dangerous. Someone that can do that, in the way I think about it, it's like, if you can do that with a family member, that means that you have no self-control, and you can be someone dangerous because you can easily, you know, just act on your needs. Yeah,
it's crazy. And there's you know what I, you know, and this goes all to like the stuff that are people that are today. I watch a lot of like, you know, podcasting and stuff like that, and you know, shows, and people bring this up and about how society today are more into like pornography and all this other stuff, and I think that's what hurts us a lot.
Because people push the limits.
They push the limits, and what somebody says is like a drug. It's actually even worse than drugs, because of course it's not. It puts you in a state where now the basic, you know, interactions with a woman or vice versa, or whatever the case may be, whatever that short, what people will call vanilla of a relationship, is no longer suitable for somebody that watches a lot of pornography, because now that boundary just got pushed and pushed and pushed, and that's how it ends up into all these taboos and all this wildly stuff. And this is I forgot who was saying it on podcast, but it made a lot of sense. It's like an addiction of drug. Like, you always try to get that first high of when you first did it or when you first watched it, and it just puts you in I think it's very wrong and bad for people, especially for the younger people, because the internet is so wide. Like, when we were growing up, we didn't have the internet. We grew up with internet as it developed, but now with the younger generations that have the internet at a young age, you're starting to see a pattern of like things that were very taboo to us when we were young. Now it's more acceptable now, and I don't think we're in the right direction when it comes to stuff like that. And you know, they talk about how certain categories are very publicized and very high rated, and one of those is incest and stuff like that, and it's like very disturbing in a sense. And I think it's a lack of people, losing faith in religion, whatever religion that may be. I feel that's where I feel that this is where it all comes back to. At the end of the day, it's a lack of faith, a lack of people going to church and doing that, and
No, and then something that you mentioned is that I think it's a big part of it too. Is like you said, maybe someone within the family got abused, and then they became the predator because of that. They started to
Lash out.
basically, yeah, and not even lash out. Maybe it's something normal to them. They don't see it as something wrong because that's all they know. So then they kind of continue that cycle within the family.
I knew somebody in high school and that had that situation happen to them, that they got abused by a family member. They didn't say anything. I guess nothing ever happened because nobody said anything, but it changed their perspective for male figures in life. And I think the their personal life was affected, and it's still effective as of today, many years down the way. And yeah, it stems from that. It stems from like that person was abused when they were young, and they become very open on a bunch of things that some of us would not be to that. And I think it's because of that trauma that they experienced at a very young age. And like you said, there's an underlying thing to it,
Yeah, if they're super hypersexualized, I started thinking about that. I'm like, oh, they must have been abused, or let's say they are completely, I guess, I don't want to say against sex, but they hide and they're not very sexual. I started thinking about that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, and I wish people would speak out on that, or at least find somebody to talk to, a therapist or whatever. I've always advocated for speaking to a therapist, even if you don't feel like you need it. Because not everybody feels like a lot of people feel like they don't need it, but they need it. You know what I mean?
The people that need therapy the most never want to go to therapy. And they're the ones that need it. And then everyone else that's affected by that one person that has problems, they're the ones that end up going to therapy.
Yeah. And
very backwards.
It's actually really good because you get a different perspective in your thinking, and it could be anything. And it doesn't even have to be sexually abused. It don't have to be it could be some type of like bullying trauma that you got when you were in middle school or something that's affecting your life today and you don't even know it. And going to somebody as a professional that pulls it out, it's like, wow, it's like, you know what? I am doing these things and you don't realize it because it's such a norm because you've done it all your life. But yeah, I mean, going back to what we were talking about, it's crazy when you hear the phrase, you don't think of it. You think of it as a joke, but you don't really think like, where did it come from and how did it come about? I don't know where it came from and how it came about.
They say that whenever you don't want to get too serious with the subject that's very serious, you start kind of like joking around and I guess to kind of like not make it such a bad thing. I think that's why people started saying a la prima se la rima.
Because it's so true, right? It's like, and I've heard people like, well, if it's a second or a third cousin, and that's where I go with that whole gray area thing. It's like, no, there's like, it's family member.
Like, bro, that's your cousin.
Like it doesn't matter if it's from my grandmother's sister's other side of the family of that whole different branch or whatever. But it's like, it's all the same because genetically it's, but then some people are like, well, we're all from Adam and Eve and we're all from, it's like, no, I don't think that's how.
Not
it's
you,
like,
brother. I don't know where you from, but apparently not from Adam and Eve. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, right? Because people play that argument, and so it's like, what do you think of that person? It's like, okay, so are you accepting? Are you cool with that, or are you not cool with that? Because if you're trying to give yourself an excuse, then you must be okay with it.
If anyone says that phrase, I already know, like, ooh, there's something nasty about you. Like, because that's literally just jokingly saying, oh, like, I don't care if you are my cousin. Like, it's like a weird, funny, flirtatious way of saying, I don't care.
Yeah.
So
is that a way, like, letting somebody else know? And, like, I don't think I've ever heard that, like,
like someone actually
within
say
my cousins or anything. I don't think nobody's ever said that. Because a lot of my cousins, we speak English.
Right.
We all know Spanish, but we all speak. Like, I guess it's
Right,
just something that we're
right.
not. So I never really. I don't think I've ever heard it within my family, within my
No.
cousins.
I've
And
never
but
heard
then again, I don't
someone
hang out with
say
my
it.
cousins that much, anyways. So
I've heard people talk about it, but I've never actually heard someone actually say it. And again, it's because maybe I don't live over there,
Yeah.
but I do go often to Mexico. So
yeah, and where I hear it normally is I hear it on like these little skits.
yeah,
That are on like, Instagram and stuff like that. And it's like, you see it and it's funny, but then you stop and really think about it, it's like, it's kind of shitty, like kind of
like
fucked up.
come on,
Yeah,
man.
it's
It's like that dark humor.
yeah,
That
exactly.
dark humor.
And it's like, what the hell, And it's like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. It's crazy that it even gets to that point. And I don't know. I couldn't. I'm not judging anybody that does. And please, we're not trying to throw salt on anybody out there, because I'm pretty sure people can relate. People that listen to our show can probably relate, and good or in a bad way or whatever. They've probably heard it. They probably know people that do that have done it,
Hopefully.
or whatever, whatnot. But I'm a real big advocate, guys. If you've men or women, because women do this. I've heard stories of older women like aunts preying on younger kids or
What do you
younger
mean?
family members, like, because how like the same thing we were saying about praying like older, like an uncle or somebody that's
That
older
is gross.
to
Yeah.
maybe a younger female in the family. It's also the other way around too. I mean, not somebody in my family that I've heard it, but I have heard it that
Other
an aunt
stories.
or somebody that was much older was preying on somebody much younger, and vice versa. And what I really wanted to say was, like, if you ever had that happen, man, there's nothing wrong with going out and finding help. I don't think you'll be okay. It's gonna affect you no matter
And you
what.
have to tell people within the family too. When it's something that serious, you have to say something, because when you don't say anything, that person is going to continue to prey on other people within the family, and they might just end up being successful at doing what they're trying to do. And
But I think
that's dangerous.
what discourages people too is they don't want to be outed as the crazy person that makes up a story. You know what I mean? Because it's hard. I mean, I don't want to say it's hard, but you see it in like shows and like stuff where like a girl is like saying this and going to the cops and they're like, oh, she's just making it all up. She's in some la fantasy. And I think that's where people don't want, because when it's family, it's like, these are people you're seeing every day, people you associate with every day. You don't want those exact same family to be like, you're the crazy,
hate you.
you're the crazy girl. You're just lying on uncle or whoever the case, or dad's friend or whatever the case may be, and because a lot of the times there's like, what evidence do you really have? Unless they're texting you, provocative stuff or sending you pictures or whatever, and you don't have that, it's all on word to say, And to me as a parent, I will always believe my kids no matter what. You know what I mean? And that's just me. And I will go overextend. And I would say that I would hope any parent would put their kid's word first and not just, well, there's no evidence, I'm gonna dismiss it. And I think that's where a lot of people don't come and say anything, because they feel like they're gonna be dismissed and then they're gonna be looked at differently.
Right.
So if that's the case, don't let that stop you. For whoever it is, it's not condonable and it's not right. And you need to talk to somebody and tell people, because like you said, it's you let this
Immediately tell
person
the family.
do,
Yeah, even if you get a different reaction, and you don't get the reaction that you expected, regardless, say something. Just because you don't want that person to continue to prey on not just you but other people within the family, you have to learn to be brave.
Yeah.
Be brave.
And you got to put pressure back on the person who did it to you, because
Yeah,
you
don't-
allow,
yeah.
like, yeah,
Push back.
push back, exactly. But I mean, it's this is a conversation I think more people need to have. Expose this stuff that happens, because it happens way too frequently, but it's never talked about, it's never said. So I mean, for me, I would always and that goes with anything, because nowadays you see a lot of these things about in shows. They have those disclaimers. Like, I think some of the shows that are on thing, they always put like abusive or whatnot. Please call this hotline number or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten so, because that you never saw 15 years ago when we were young. You never saw that in the beginnings of the shows. And now they're in almost a lot of shows that have some type of verbal abuse or bullying or whatever case. It shows, and there's a purpose for that, because it's so common now on the internet. It shows it more and more and more, and it's crazy. I think just everybody needs to speak out. And I think we would do it. Hopefully we encourage anybody that's going through that to do that, and don't be afraid to speak out and talk about it. Find that one person you can get with, or, find a therapist or somebody and just go with it. Let it go. And you'll probably it'll help out. I would assume it would help and relieve and make you live life a whole lot better, and stay positive, and, seek church and, God on your own level, however you feel that is, and whoever. But I think that's the best way things go, and
Yep, absolutely.
so, but thank you as always. I love talking about this stuff, and
You like talking about. See, I told you it was his idea.
No, I mean, it's just I saw this and I brought it to her, and she's like, "Yes, let's do it." But I was like, "Seriously?" She's like, "Yeah, let's do it." No, but I mean, in my instance, I really just wanted to get out, because it is true. It is true.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that have those issues, and it's like we do it way too late, and it's like, you went through all this, and so
yeah, but we really appreciate it, guys. Till
all
next
right,
time.
well, next time. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.